national voice across the country. This is Right Line with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Let's face it, retirement has gotten more complicated, taxes go up, markets swing, and most people are just guessing their way through it. But you don't have to. Certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend has been helping families right here in Southwest Florida for over 40 years retire with confidence, not guesswork. He even wrote a book called Making Waves in Retirement, and he wants to send you a copy absolutely free. So look, it's about retiring with confidence and peace of mind. All you need to do right now is pick up your phone and text the word book to 239-579-9992. That's book to 239-579-9992. Look, don't wait. Text the word book to 239-579-9992 right now.
What does life after service look like? Kicking back? Taking it easy? We believe it looks a little different. Fighting for all veterans. Making sure they get the benefits and care they've earned. Rebuilding communities after disaster strikes, and adapting to support today's veterans, meeting them where they are. VFW, still leading, still advancing, still serving. Get involved at stillserving.org.
I can trace family members who served from World War I to today, each one helping shape who I am. My family chose to share their stories with the Library of Congress Veterans History Project. Voices, letters, and memories that bring their service to life. Searching for their stories was easy. You can discover powerful stories too, told through the voices of America's veterans. Explore, remember, and share at loc.gov/vets.
Half of young adults are at risk of hearing damage from loud sounds. So why is this happening? We know not to bake in the sun for hours and to get our eyes checked regularly. We buckle up to save lives. And we know that smoking kills. So do poor diet choices and poor life choices. But why are we so reckless with our hearing? We take hearing for granted. Hearing damage from loud sounds is permanent, but preventable. We take common sense steps for our health every day. Let's make hearing part of it. Wear earplugs. Turn it down. Give your ears a rest. Love your ears. Learn more at hearinghealthfoundation.org. Keep listening.
Hey, everybody. Glad you're here hanging out with us on Right Line. It's Drew Steele. Thanks for watching. We are in radio commercial break right now, so we're going to be back in just a second. Actually, not back. Starting. We've got to start the program. We haven't even started yet on this weekend. All right, so we are live each and every Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m. We appreciate you being here, and there's a lot to cover. And if for any reason there is some breaking news, we will have it for you coming up in just a bit. But I just wanted to say thanks so much at Right Line News on YouTube and X if you want to check out the program. And oh, by the way, we've got a weekday program if you want to check that out too. It's Florida's Voice. We are here in the state of Florida. So if you want to check that out as well, you can go to FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, and Instagram and see the show during the week, our Monday through Friday show. So just wanted to mention that as well, 3 to 6 p.m. But looking forward to a big day today. What do we got coming up? Oh, you're going to like it right out of the gate. Not messing around. So we'll be back in just a second.
The other day, a man called saying my electric was way past due. He threatened to turn off my power if I didn't buy a gift card to pay the bill. I said, look, fella, I wasn't born yesterday. Gift cards are for gifts, not for paying bills, and I'm sure as heck not buying you a gift. So I hung up on the crook, and my lights never went out. Know the signs of scams and leave scammers in the dust. If someone asks for a gift card as payment, it's likely a scam. A public service message from the Better Business Bureau.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or are covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
This is Right Line with Drew Steele.
Well, hey, everybody. Glad you're joining us today. Welcome to the weekend. It's Right Line. My name is Drew Steele. Big D over there on the other side of the glass with the newsroom, and Nina's in the breaking newsroom. Just in case anything is going on this weekend, we will have it for you. A busy show ahead. It's always a busy show. What is it? That's like a weird way of putting it. Nah, it's not very busy today. Nothing really going on. No, it's not like that at all. So the president of the United States is very upset about a lot of different things that's going on in this country, and for good reason. I mean, when you have a lot of leftists that all want to bring communism here to the United States because we haven't done it the American way, you can get a little frustrated about things. And then when you have people who are walking along the street and they see a beautiful ballroom and they're like, hey, that's an eyesore, let's sue somebody. And then you got judges who are leftists who don't want the president of the United States to do anything because they themselves...
if you're crazy and you know it sounds like this.
Donald Trump and his extremist allies.
Because they all have TDS. That's the TDS sound there. So the president's like, look, we're going to go through this with the ballroom. We need the ballroom. So he has classified, it's official, the White House ballroom construction as a military project. That's what it's... yeah, there you go. So we can get this done, right? So we can circumvent the judges that are so activist. You know, it's a funny thing. When you read into the Constitution, you forget about the part where judges run the country and the president just gets to sit really nice in ballrooms that aren't built yet, which is not the case. Well, the ballroom part is, but the part about judges running the place is not. So, yeah, he even got Joint Chiefs Chairman Kane to confirm and say that there's a valid military requirement for a secure state-of-the-art facility that provides for the physical protection of the president and the command, control, and communication capabilities necessary for the president to carry out his commander-in-chief responsibilities over the U.S. Armed Forces anywhere across the globe at any time. We could have just built the ballroom. Nobody would have known about the command and everything else. But no, because we have to have somebody suing and activist judges, now everybody knows everything. But the president was putting that out there, wanted to make it clear that we got to get this ballroom built, and then a little troll on the side. So we love the troll. We love any time that the president can troll and put some things out on Truth Social, and oh boy. So he put this out on Truth Social. Let me see if I can find this. And you have the interwebs going crazy. It's like... What's that sound? That's the sound of lefty heads popping all over the country because they're looking at this video of the president of the United States who's showing the ballroom. Mind you, it's AI. Just wanted to say that for the lefties. With George Washington. So there he is. It's the president of the United States. If you're watching at Right Line News on YouTube and X, you see there's the president of the United States and George Washington. It's like, look at this place. It's a beautiful ballroom, and George approves. Well, he hasn't said anything. Neither one of them is saying anything. It's AI. So they're just kind of... And for some reason, you've got the left in this country who is like, I can't believe this. What kind of president would do this? Somebody that's trolling you and is pretty upset about what has been going on with the ballroom lately anyway. In the meantime, even though there are things like that happening, the president just wants to remind you that there are some very good, big, huge, bigly important things that are going on. Like when Kash Patel, FBI director, was there in Long Island, not Long Island, but Long Island, on Friday, when he just wanted to let everybody know, all the first responders, police officers, and those that were present there with him, that...
It's especially humbling to be here with the President of the United States, who's going to come out and announce the largest reduction in violent crime in the history of the United States of America.
How about that? I bet you even George Washington would give that a thumbs up. Although I don't know if they gave thumbs up back in 1776. Maybe they did. I'm not really sure. So that's right. So the largest reduction in violent crime in the history of the United States. You had the Attorney General. We can say that now with confidence, the Attorney General, as opposed to the acting Attorney General, Todd Blanche, who was with him as well, who was saying...
It's the beginning of President Trump's administration. The Department of Justice has moved at lightning speed. We have charged 170,000 criminals in this country. And just to put that in perspective, that's 50,000 more than the last administration did over the same time period.
Yeah, so when you hear that, you're thinking to yourself, it seems as if this president's got a lot going on and he's getting a lot of things done. And sometimes you don't hear about the bigger things that are getting done, like the biggest reduction in violent crime in the history of the United States. And by the way, that's 250 plus for those that are keeping track. And so there's the Attorney General, Todd Blanche, who's reminding people 170,000 criminals in the country removed, and 50,000 more than the last administration did. Maybe they were too busy with other things. Who knows?
I got hairy legs.
There's that. But the president was also talking about how few murders and the like there were. This is on Friday. He's on Long Island, and he was talking about...
And last year, there were over 3,100 fewer murders than the year before I took office. Remember this, though? And we allowed, through the stupid open borders policy, 25 million people to come into our country. Many of them are now gone. But
yeah, and those people that came in, a lot of them, as the president has talked about before, and I think he was even mentioning there, the fact that when you have all of these countries who were opening up their jails and letting people in because they knew Biden had the open borders, and a Democrat Party who now, if they ever were to be in power once again, would just reopen those borders because Trump. Think about that one for a second. And so the president reminding us about how we are tackling the issue of crime in the United States. And one other thing I want to mention before we move on, and it's this. I saw this clip from NTD. They were doing a man on the street interviews with people in Washington, D.C. Now, don't miss the lead of the story here. The lead is that the president of the United States is trying to get a lot of things done, including a ballroom that we've needed, but we've got judges who are like, you can't do that. And we have people walking down the street and saying, I don't like that, Trump, that kind of thing, and trying to stop it. You've got the president who is also trying to fight crime, and with the DOJ and the FBI is getting it done and having historic numbers when it comes to fighting crime. And people appreciate it. Now, if you listen to the media, not us, not here at Right Line, but, the fake news legacy media that's been out there for far too long.
Fake news.
Those guys. You know that they're going to continue with other narratives, but they won't bring this up. And if they do, it'll be at the end of the program or the back of the newspaper or whatever it is that you're checking out. And why are you doing that? They won't get into the heart. They won't say exactly what's going on proudly as Americans, which is a funny thing because you would imagine that as an American citizen, which, all Republicans, most Democrats are, and you would like to see safe streets, that you would be more than happy to give a president of the United States credit where it's due. But it's Trump, so you can't. But I wanted to play this video because the people in Washington, D.C., for example, they get it. It was a year this week that just passed, a year ago about, was when the National Guard got deployed in D.C. And you remember what it was like when people were talking about deploying the National Guard and how, there he goes, there's Trump, there he is, a dictator. It's what dictators do. See, he's taking over the streets. You know how that goes. Well, a year later, finally, somebody decided to go out on the streets and talk to the people and say, hey, what do you think about this? How is it going?
The National Guards have been deployed to D.C. for more than a year now. What do you make of their presence a year in?
I love them. I love them. Our kids deserve to grow up safe with a different environment. For so long, D.C. has been a violent city. The goal is to get peace back into the neighborhood and society.
I love them here. Keep them here. It's cleaning D.C. up. Keep them moving all around D.C. Clean them up. Clean them up. I love them.
I tell them thank you every time I walk past them. All the crime statistics say they're down, in no small part because of that.
That's a deterrent. So we haven't had any really serious issues, especially with the teenagers lately. But I think they're doing an excellent job. I just feel bad about the young lady who lost her life last year.
Let's take a look at the crime stats across the nation. We're seeing homicides rate on track to be the lowest in more than a century. Some people are saying this is like a good policy from the administration. What do you think?
We lost more, young people that could have been lawyers, judges, doctors.
Boom. Boom. That's what I want to hear. That just, that hurts your heart, but it warms your heart. Exactly what he said there. And that's how I wanted to finish this segment. Look, here's the thing. You've got media outlets who are telling you that Trump's bad, TDS, the whole thing. You get all of that. You had a year ago people telling you that having the National Guard in Washington, D.C., in a place that should be the pinnacle of what is safety, beauty, the nation's capital, and you know how it's been run. And then we have the National Guard, and you hear people now on the streets who are thankful that this happened. Keep it going, because now they all can have a beautiful life and not stress about this. And to have it down at record numbers is incredible. But there's the other part. What he said is the thing that hurts my heart and warms my heart. The warming of the heart is, yes, this is beautiful. The hurts my heart is when he says, think about all the lives that were lost, the kids, the lives, the people that could have been doctors, lawyers. They could have done so much for this country. And the tragedy of that lost life. That perspective is huge. And I just wonder what lefties in this country think about that when they hear a gentleman who's talking about that aspect of the story. Does that not mean anything to you? Probably not. Anyway, just wanted to finish up with that. Okay, anytime you want to watch at Right Line News on YouTube and X, we appreciate it. And don't forget, if you missed something, the show goes up after the show. It's Right Line with Drew Steele, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. This is one of the stories that today, as we hit the weekend here, that people are talking about. And look, there's something to be said about where taxpayer dollars go, okay? And when taxpayer dollars go to things that have to do with religion or religious organizations, you've got the Democrats that are screaming at the top of their lungs, separation of church and state. You've heard it before.
True international effort to pressure.
Maybe that's what he meant. I don't know. We still don't know what that means. But anyway, could have been. So they're like, hold on a second. You can't do that. But it's a funny thing on the way to that kind of talk. When I guess certain groups want to do things, it's a little different. So here's what's been happening around the country, especially in Texas right now, where you have the governor who's getting a lot of pressure because Texas is changing a lot. There are people that are coming to this state of Texas, and the idea of assimilation is just not happening. That's an important aspect to people who come to the country. You come here because you want to be an American citizen and you want to follow the laws and the rules, the Constitution. You get it, right? You don't want to have your own little area with your own laws, right? That seems crazy. That's silly. No, why would you do that? That's not a thing. I mean, it's a thing, but it shouldn't be. And so you've got these foreigners coming into the state who don't want to assimilate. They don't want to be part of the fabric of the United States. And then you have a lot of things that are taking taxpayer dollars to give certain groups and individuals things that might be considered religious in nature. And ultimately, the taxpayers pay for that. And I thought, we're not supposed to do that kind of thing. So the governor directed a review of all state grants to entities that operate airports in Texas, like DFW and George Bush Intercontinental in Houston, for revocation of active state grants and the denial of future grants. Why? It's due to illegal religious discrimination at government-owned facilities. And he requested to the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, to check this out to see what's going on here. These ablution stations, I guess is what they're called. So what it is foot washing areas. And it's Muslim foot washing facilities that they want to put into the airports. Houston, Dallas, as a matter of fact, there was a discussion not too long ago in the state of Florida where we are right now, and that we would do this in Orlando. Remember, we're talking about federal tax dollars, your money. So the airport was thinking about this. the governor's like, they're designed to single out one subset of the population for special treatment based on religion, and that is illegal. The last time I checked, we know it.
True international effort to pressure.
Because Joe Biden said it, and other Democrats have said this in the past, right? So both airports, government-owned facilities, the federal and state constitutions prohibit government from facilitating this sort of discrimination. Just as the government cannot favor the secular over the sacred, it also cannot favor one religious view over the other, to which DFW was like, all right, maybe we won't move ahead with the plan. So they're going to do a check on this. They're going to put that on hold for the moment. But just understand that when you have certain things that are going on in different airports, now there's a little more to this story because the way it is being described by others is that you have people that are washing their feet in the sinks in the airport. And so the airport's like, well, this is not hygienic. To which people are like, well, hold on a second. If that's something that is happening, then we've got to figure out some kind of accommodation that may be outside of the building or certainly isn't with taxpayer funds. Can we do that? So that is another part of the story. But ultimately, these are the kind of things that continue to happen. It feels to some people like there's this creeping in of, hey, we're going to do these kind of things. And even though on the one hand, if someone were to say we would want a Christian exclusive church setting inside of the airport, for example, and we would like for this to be taxpayer funded, everybody would be like, nope, can't do that. And we get it. So it should be straight across the board that way. And that's the fundamental issue there. All right. What else we got going on here at Right Line? I don't know. We got a lot. Oh, is this, okay. Yeah. Is this kind of it's a woke news story of the, it's kind of a woke news story of the day. Okay. I guess it is.
This is Woke News Today.
Yeah.
With your host, Drew Steele.
Thanks, Biff. By the way, Biff gets paid every time he's able to be heard on the air. So that's kind of an important thing. So I guess recently in New York, there was an assemblywoman. I know, right?
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
I don't know. That's what it says in the story in front of me. Okay. So the assembly person is Emily Gallagher. And they're talking about crimes of poverty. And I was like, crimes of poverty. What are we talking about here? Well, there was a story that was being done about the crimes of poverty that are going on in New York. Now, here she is, the assemblywoman who is in front of a microphone, who says this.
Most of what we saw were crimes of poverty. People who are stealing things like toothpaste. People who are stealing things like, soap. And that means if you're stealing those things, you need them. Okay, so if you're stealing those things, you need them. Well, she said that that's what they've been noticing. Toothpaste, soap, that kind of thing. That's what's being stolen. Now, there are people that are out there that are like, hey, are there any kind of facilities in New York City where you could probably go to get these things if you needed them so you wouldn't have to steal them? And the answer probably is yes, because of all the money that's spent in New York City. You would imagine they would have something set up like that. That's the first thing. The second thing is don't steal. The stealing part doesn't have to happen. You can't say to me that it is acceptable. But for some people, and especially lefties, there's always a number that you can put on it. I mean, you can have like 10 bars of soap, 15 bottles of toothpaste, that 75-inch TV over there. You can take 3 iPhones. You can go down the list because that's what will end up happening. If you say it's just about soap and toothpaste, it becomes 75-inch TVs and iPhones real fast. By the way, the story goes on.
Advocates believe that shoplifting or bringing bags of trash onto the trains or sleeping in the subway should not be criminally prosecuted. Neither should graffiti vandalism and public urination, even...
Yeah, no, I stop with that. Actually, I stop with most of it. So there you go. So that story goes on to talk about crimes of poverty. And listen, you hate to see people stealing it all. And you hate to think that there are people that have the quote unquote crimes of poverty going on where they can't afford the basics like toothpaste and soap, to which, again, I say to you, there are places, facilities, government-run facilities, people, organizations, church organizations. There are places where you can go to get these needs without stealing. Full stop. But you hear crimes of poverty and like, no. It's like, you can't tell me that soon they're going to be passing laws that let criminals loose, let's just say, for example, if there's some kind of crime of necessity. I mean, we haven't gotten to that part
Breaking
yet.
news.
A bombshell. Oh, wait, this just in. We're at that part now. So then this morning, this pops up here on Saturday in America on Fox News. Listen to this.
New bill that could give thieves a get-out-of-jail-free card. Now, it would create expanded diversion programs for offenses they consider crimes of necessity.
Crimes of necessity. Like what that person was talking about just a little while ago, the soap and the toothpaste. We got to let them steal that. And look, if they got to watch TV, 75-inch, please. And they got to call people, phones. Here's a California representative who's like, this is crazy.
Basically, the Democrats say that if you're poor, that forces you to go out and rob a store. Now, let me be very clear. No one is robbing stores for food, bread, eggs, milk, or butter. They're stealing Nikes and PlayStations. Let's be very clear about what crimes and what criminals they're trying to protect with these diversion programs. More offensively, when this bill was brought up, the author of the bill and the Democrats said Donald Trump is responsible for the crime wave.
Well, you knew that was coming. So there's a little bit of Trump derangement syndrome spun into this story.
Because of H.R. 1, the big, beautiful bill, people will be going hungry, which is not true. The big, beautiful bill is all about cracking down on fraud and protecting taxpayer money.
Can't have that if you're a Democrat.
People who need help will continue to get help. But they said Donald Trump's going to cause a crime wave, and so we need to make sure when people do commit crimes because of necessity, because they're poor, that they not be put in jail.
Hey, what happens when Donald Trump isn't in office anymore? I'm just throwing a couple of things out there. So if Donald Trump is out of office, which will happen very soon, I mean, probably 2032, 2036. I don't know. Come on, just messing with you. You lefties, I'm messing with you. But once he's out of office, does that mean we can have this go away? Because people will be like, hey, is Trump still in office? I need this bar soap. He's out? Okay, never mind. Put it back. Like, is that how that goes? No. And then, of course, these programs will lead to, like I said, the TVs and the phones and all of these different... This is where they're going. They're just inch and inch. Just give us a little. Just give us the foot washing stations. Just give us the soap. Give us the little bit by bit in this country. And then next thing you know, it's like, what's just happened?
Right Line with Drew Steele.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
Hey, everybody, just want to remind you, if you're watching at Right Line News on YouTube and X, we thank you very much for joining us this weekend. We do it each and every Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m., so thanks for hanging out with us. In case you're wondering, we are in radio commercial break right now, and we'll be back in just a couple of more minutes from the newsroom. We'll have a couple of updates on some stories that they're watching. Any breaking news, we'll have it for you, but we're in radio commercial break right now, so we'll be right back.
A.org.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Since the dawn of time, man and wildlife have shared a connection. And hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation have connected man to the natural world. From bow and arrow to hook and bullet, as man evolved, our link to those traditions remains. Yet today, our basic instinct to provide and as part of the hunt, to conserve and appreciate the natural world has fallen under attack for the first time in human history. Misguided politicians and radical activists pushing an agenda to end hunting as we know it are leading a war against our heritage. In their misguided policies and protests, they demonize hunters and belittle our way of life. The result? Hunters leaving the sport in droves while our wildlife and ecosystems suffer the consequences as conservation funding dries up. Named after the father of the North American model for wildlife conservation, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting in the arena to protect and expand the rights of hunters everywhere. We will fight back against these forces to make sure that every American has a right to hunt, enshrined in their state constitutions. We will educate the next generation in our traditions and seek to expand accessibility so that everyone can enjoy our pastimes. And we will continue to hold true to our namesake's efforts to protect, preserve, and ensure open access to our nation's wildlands. Teddy Roosevelt's vision for American conservation defines our modern hunting and conservation system. A system upheld by the idea that conservation efforts are crucial to our hunting way of life, and that hunters are crucial to successful conservation.
I slept in a lot of different rooms, different beds, but none of them really felt like mine. I spent 14 years in foster care, mostly in group homes. And I never had much left because I always had to be ready to move. Why get things if you just have to let them go?
There are more than 100,000 children in foster care waiting to be adopted. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is working to help find them a forever family and a permanent home of their own.
Now I have my own room with walls that tell my story. I love hanging out in here. I play dress up with my sisters and I sing and make videos. But the best part? Knowing I'll always have a place to go and a family that loves and supports me.
If you have room in your home or your heart, see how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead and in a changing world. You've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Right Line with Drew Steele.
Don't forget, anytime you want to watch at Right Line News on YouTube and X, anytime you want to check out the program after the program, it goes up right after the program. I think I said that 3 times. Right Line with Drew Steele. And then don't forget, if you wanted to check out the weekday show, we're in the state of Florida, that's called Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. And you can watch at FL, like Florida, FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, and Instagram. All right, top of the news from the Right Line newsroom right now.
Top of the news. National headlines.
Now. I have no idea what they're working on over there, but let's see what's going on here. AP Anita Padilla is in the Right Line newsroom. She's got the latest. Let's see what's up. What's up?
Hey there, Drew. President Donald Trump asking the U.S. Supreme Court to allow him to continue building a new ballroom at the White House. The Trump administration says that project is needed in part for presidential security and national security. The lower courts have ruled that Trump needs congressional approval before moving forward with the roughly $400 million project. The Supreme Court request comes after a federal appeals court ordered the administration to stop above ground construction. Well, the mayor of Lawrence, Massachusetts has been arrested and charged now with federal fraud and money laundering. Prosecutors are accusing Brian DePena of fraudulently obtaining more than $1.5 million in COVID-19 small business loans. The government is alleging that he used that money to pay personal tax debt, support his mayoral campaign, and pay off more than $880,000 in personal mortgages. DePena is presumed innocent unless and until he is proven guilty in a court of law. A Kentucky woman facing 2 federal charges, and this is after the World War II memorial in Washington, D.C. was vandalized. Prosecutors say Melissa Ferris spray painted the words, quote, "clean hands, dirty money" on the memorial. And according to investigators, she poured bubble soap into the fountain. Authorities say the cleanup and the restoration costs have already topped $1,000. Ferris has said that she was simply trying to get people to listen to her concerns. She is now in federal custody. And finally, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is warning of unprecedented economic action against Iran, with new measures expected to come next week. Bessent said that the Trump administration is escalating its economic pressure on Tehran through Operation Economic Fury, following the military campaign known as Operation Epic Fury. Bessent did not provide any details, but said the new actions will be like or unlike anything seen before in the history of economic isolation. All right, that is a look at your news headlines right now from around the nation. I'm Anita Padilla for Right Line News. I'm the news director. Drew, let's toss it back over to you.
All right, AP, we appreciate it in the Right Line newsroom. Anytime you want to check out the stories that they're working on, we've got a website. You can see all of it, rightlinenews.com. That's the website. All right, so much is going on today as we're checking out stories from Friday night, overnight into Saturday, through the weekend. Here we are. It is the weekend, and what do we have? In Iowa, there was a lot going on, like the Iowa State Fair, where not everybody is beloved there. I guess here you have Democrat Senator Mark Kelly, who's going to the Iowa State Fair because, hey, I just happen to be, I'm not thinking about running for president or anything like that in the future. I just happen to be in Iowa. And so here I'm walking around and, oh boy, there's signs, there's people screaming. It seems it doesn't look like they're very fond of the Democrat senator there in Iowa, where he's showing up. And I don't really know what their beef is, but they have really cool, well done signs. It says "out of orbit, out of touch." Okay. So, and the funny thing is that when you see someone like that getting heckled with these professional signs, and it happens to be a Democrat, see, if it's a Republican, you know it's like a Soros-backed or Democrat DSA-backed group or something, and this is what they do, you know, Antifa agitators and the like. If it's a Democrat who's getting this, Is it possible that now, because of the dynamics here in the country, that Democrat senator who ends up in Iowa might be being heckled by DSA members who don't think that the Democrat senator is far left enough for them? I'm telling you, just look at Dee's making a face at me right now. I'm telling you, just think about that for a second. There are Democrats in the Democrat Party who have been there for way too long. You know some of them.
Bowl of doggy do.
I don't know what that means. I don't know. But Nancy Pelosi, she's one of them. And, you know, they're looking at people like Nancy Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries and others, and they're like, you're not far left enough for us. You'll help us to get in to Congress, let's just say, or even to the presidency. And we'll get all these positions in the country, and then you're done because you're not far left enough. A couple of other things that were going on in Iowa as well. You know, our friends in Canada have not been very excited about the United States because the president has been like, yeah, I don't know if you know this, but Canada's been getting a really sweet deal along with many others around the globe when it comes to trade. And, you know, we got to crack down a little bit. We should be doing that. And you've got the far leftists that are in Canada running the show. And you've got the president who just wants to make clear some of the things that have been going on when it comes to agriculture and trade. You've got Jamison Greer, who was at the Iowa State Fair. He's a U.S. trade representative. And while he was there, he just said a couple of things that I just wanted to point out, and then we're going to move on real fast. But he said this because the people in Canada were listening very intently, carefully to this. You can see CBC and then live. And he said,
here, as you can see, the U.S. Trade Representative Jamison Greer is taking questions.
Yeah.
He is in Iowa right now,
Yep.
attending the Iowa State Fair.
Yep.
And so let's listen in to his responses to questions there.
Yeah.
President Trump's trade agenda is exactly what we've been discussing. We want to protect American industry. We want to reshore manufacturing.
How dare he do that? Protecting industry and reshoring industry? And you can't. No, that's cool. Keep going.
And so the president has used a mix of tariffs, a mix of deals,
Yep.
to try to protect American industry.
To try to protect American industry. Now, there are some who are like, nah, don't protect it. Just leave it the way it was because it was working so well before, having people do what they wanted to do with our businesses and industry and treating us the way they were treating us. Even our friends, you know.
Where does Canada come in on all this?
Yeah.
America has its trade policy. It's
Yep.
going to pursue its trade policy. We've been working with our Canadian colleagues. Obviously, they have ideas. There are elements of U.S. trade policy that they don't like. Part of that is because they've had completely free access to the U.S. market for many decades. The United States at this point, we're trying to control our borders, whether it's for immigration, for imported goods and services.
Yeah, so we've got, it's a funny thing when you have the interests of the American people and American business in mind. You start to think about things that people weren't thinking about before, and that's okay. I mean, it's fine. The whole thing in the past was the benefits, the one-way benefits that Canada was getting that we were not. And there was no reciprocation. Okay, now the newsroom is looking at me. All right, Dee is the keeper of all things linguistics. So now we weren't being reciprocated. How's that? Okay, they would do business with us, and it felt like we couldn't do business with. The whole thing is that when it comes to what the president is trying to accomplish, what we're trying to do with business and trying to help American companies. And oh boy, let me tell you something. When it comes to onshoring things, oh man, do we have to do that. It's so important. Wouldn't it be nice if we can have, I don't know, like a Mac Mini built in the United States? Wouldn't that be nice instead of having Apple shoring it out and let's onshore it in? Can we do that?
We are proud to put our money where our mouth is.
In his final weeks as Apple CEO, Tim Cook has placed a Texas-sized bet on Houston.
He has? Hey, tell me more.
Let's make you say that.
Alongside Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, Cook toured this construction zone set to produce Mac Mini computers come December.
Hey, that's what I was talking about. Well, that's pretty cool. We bring it here. Like, let's do it here. Let's build the chips here. Let's build the stuff here. Let's do things here.
Cook spoke to us exclusively.
Lots of different manufacturing is here. In fact, it's 450,000 jobs total.
450,000 jobs. Nah, you know what? Let's give it to everybody else. Why don't we do that? Let's keep everything the way it was. Let's give everybody else the jobs. And well, why bring everything here? That's ridiculous. Nah, we don't want to do that. That's crazy talk. No, it's really not. It's actually very cool. So there's Tim Cook announcing Mac Minis now, moving back to the United States. That is because the president of the United States understands what it means to have onshoring of not just chips and more, but business, infrastructure, these things that we need. Mac Minis. I need a Mac Mini. That kind of thing. So I just like that story. And let's move on. All right, once again, anytime you want to watch at Right Line News on YouTube and X. By the way, the phone number, 866-588-8303. You can call anytime you like as well. Hey, this just popped up a little while ago. Isn't it funny how sometimes the things that never happen way too often? Like fraud when it comes to elections. What about this?
A township is facing charges after police say she was driving under the influence with her 2-year-old in the car.
Oh, my.
Police say she was driving erratically and an open container of alcohol, they say, was in the vehicle.
Yeah, well, that person who some time ago was facing charges about doing exactly what you just heard and what was described, well, guess what? Now we come to find out that same former Democrat New Jersey mayor, Gina LaPlaca, has just been charged now with fraud because she faked signatures to obtain ballot placement in the 26th primary along with her husband. So in 2025, she gets charged with DUI, 2-year-old in the car. Horrible, horrible. Now we come to find out the same Democrat is like, hey, when it comes to ballot placement and stuff, I can fraud fake the signature here, can I? And that's what she did for the 26th primary. I'm thinking that maybe the former Democrat New Jersey mayor of Lumberton Township maybe stay out of politics and maybe off the roads and please can we get some help for this individual? I'm just saying. Maybe, allegedly. All right, one other thing that I wanted to get to. I just want to make sure that we have enough time that we can be fair with time today. Oh, there's so much. You know, Bill Maher has this program that he does. What is it, Friday nights? By the way, I don't know if you can hear it, but there is like some serious lightning and thunder outside of the building today as we are live here this weekend. Yeah, it is just outside the window. I can see it. Sometimes you might be able to see the flashes if you're watching at Right Line News on YouTube and X. Bill Maher's got this program he's doing. He gets a couple of lefties on the program who, strangely enough, start talking about the policies of one communist mayor, Mamdani, in New York. And, all right.
His name is Zoran. He is a commie.
So what do I have to do? So now I have to start not saying his name so that the mayor that shall not be named, so that you won't play that every time. I'm looking at the newsroom. Anyway. So they're arguing about and discussing government-run grocery stores. And it turns out that a CNN contributor had something to say about the government-run grocery stores that was, wow, spot on. And you don't see CNN spot on about things too often. So, we have to play that. So that's going to be coming up right after the break. And also after the break, we've got to get a DSA update because there are things that are going on in this country that are just unbelievable. The Speaker of the House, Speaker Johnson, went off in front of millions of people on Saturday today. When it comes to communism, what is going on in this country, to the airwaves there on Fox News, and had a whole lot to say. So we're going to play that coming up as well. Once again, if you want to watch at Right Line News on YouTube and X, and the show goes up after the show, Right Line with Drew Steele, the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get it. We'll be back in just a minute.
Right Line with Drew Steele.
A lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. you get both. Many families save $500 a month with Medishare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for Medishare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because Medishare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
Did you know VA home loans are a key to home ownership for those who served?
The first moment I walked into my home, I could hear my footsteps echo off the back wall. The first thing I thought in my head was, man, furniture is going to be real expensive. The VA not requiring any down payment prior to buying the home allowed me to take that money I had budgeted to go out and buy furniture, food, cleaning supplies, pretty much everything I needed. Purchasing a home is scary, but ultimately it's not impossible, and they make it so that anybody can do it.
To learn more, visit va.gov/home loans.
For 25 years, the Library of Congress Veterans History Project has collected and preserved the experiences of America's heroes. From original letters to oral histories, these first-hand accounts bring history to life, one voice at a time. With over 120,000 stories collected, each reveals the courage, sacrifice, and service of our veterans, but many remain untold. Help our nation reach 125,000. Share a story. Ensure a legacy. Visit loc.gov/vets today.
We weren't sure adoption would happen for us, but when it did, it happened threefold.
Mary and her husband first met their 3 children when they became their foster parents. Little did they know that their house would become the siblings' forever home.
We had to help them adjust to the idea that they wouldn't have to leave. Children in foster care have lived and survived so much. We had to help them process their trauma. And now to hear our children say that they know they have a mother and father who take care of us, teach us, and love us means everything.
The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is committed to finding safe, permanent homes for the longest waiting children in foster care.
I not only love these kids, I am just so proud of them.
You can help. Visit davethomasfoundation.org.
When I was 19 and I was going to shows, I was not thinking about permanent hearing loss. I wasn't thinking about tinnitus.
Sometimes my kids are having a conversation with me and that ringing starts in my ear. They're talking to me and I hear their voice, but I can't focus on what they're saying.
The audiologist, he told me that most of his clients are not old people. They're kids that have their earphones in.
I have a lot of regret about not protecting my ears sooner.
Protect your ears at all times, no matter what. It's not something you can get back.
Some journeys start small, with small pause and big purpose.
Look how little you are, you sweet girl.
Every great partnership begins with the first step.
Bella, let's go.
Guiding them through the world so one day they can guide someone through life. With shared experience, confidence grows, and the path becomes clear. It takes time, patience, and love. But the reward lasts a lifetime.
Hey, good girl, Bella.
You don't just raise a puppy. You raise a future. Become a Dogs Inc. puppy raiser. Give a dog a purpose. Give someone hope.
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Listen, I've lived in Southwest Florida long enough to know that when I needed countertops, you go to the best. Who's the best? Rock Solid on J&C Boulevard in Naples. First of all, Rock Solid's consultants, I wasn't really sure what I wanted, but I knew that they were knowledgeable, gave me all the information I needed to make the best decision. I love that fabrication is done on premises. It's not like they're subbing out the job to some third party, right? You're looking for countertops, backsplash? You know where to go. Rock Solid, J&C Boulevard, Naples.
Now, back to Right Line with Drew Steele.
She's a brown Swiss. She's 5.5 years old and pretty much my best friend. So people ride their horses, so why can't you ride a cow? And we're having a half-past free break to milk the cows. So me and Michael will be milking the cows as normal on our wedding day. Yeah. Everyone else carries on partying and we'll be milking and we'll join them back at 7.
I really only wanted to play that clip because, when you have someone who has a really cool British accent, it's always fun to just play the audio. Now, there's a meaning to it. So there's a bride in the UK who rode her favorite cow into her wedding. And that she wanted to do it since she was 10 years old. Now, when you're 10 years old, you're like, I'm going to ride you into my wedding one day. Like, okay, you don't think that that's a 10-year-old's wish, but all right. The second thing is, I didn't know you could ride a cow. Like, get on the back like horse. Like she said, some people like to ride the horses into the wedding. I rode my cow into the wedding because I love the cow. I didn't know you can ride a cow. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody ride a cow before. That was my revelation. That was the thing that I was thinking about. And I was like, okay. No, I didn't know. It's kind of magical. All right, are we done with that? Sorry, there's about a minute and a half. You'll never get back. All right, you want to watch at Rightline News on YouTube and X. I mentioned this before the break. This is pretty stunning. So you have a CNN contributor, Kristen Soltis Anderson, goes on to Bill Maher's program. I think this, Friday night into Saturday morning, the show's on. And they're talking about socialism. And they're kind of trashing it, which is kind of funny for a Bill Maher program. You would imagine that he would love socialism because he's a leftist, but he's the quote-unquote moderate Democrats. Doesn't want the crazy in the party. Like, we don't want socialism. Apparently, neither does the CNN commentator, because she's talking about the grocery stores that are being run in cities like New York. The government-run ones.
Nothing will make someone hate socialism more than trying to go to a government-run grocery store.
Why? Why would people hate going to a government-run grocery store?
1989, Boris Yeltsin comes over to the U.S. This is when, the U.S. and the USSR were starting to become, it was thawing. He comes over to visit Texas. He goes to NASA. He sees our technology there. And then he goes to a Texas grocery store. And Boris Yeltsin walked away. The Houston Chronicle said he was dazzled by the Jell-O pudding pops and things that, seriously, in the store. And he went back to the Soviet Union and was like, guys, we've got it all wrong.
We've got this all wrong. And she makes a very interesting point after that. And I want to get to that here in just a second. But think about that. There are Democrats who are going on to Bill Maher's program. Andrew Cuomo was there too. And they're trashing socialism. And it's funny because this is your Big Ten party. You invited them in. You're inviting them in. They came in. They've pretty much used you as a vehicle to get what they want. And now you want to push them out. But you kind of want them in because it's a Big Ten party. Oh, boy, what a mess. But she makes a very interesting point here about grocery stores.
And look, exactly. I get it. So the affordability of groceries, right problem to tackle, wrong solution. We actually have solutions in that you have grocery stores like Aldi, like Lidl, that are aimed at sort of getting discount food in people's hands. Create the economic conditions where an Aldi or a Lidl wants to open up shop in your town rather than government deciding it's going to get into the grocery store running business.
Huh? You mean capitalism and free markets? Well, would you look at that? So there she is talking about something that, okay, that's fine. There she is talking about something that we kind of already have in place. And if we were to lean into the free market capitalism that we have in this country already, like she came up with something brand new off the top. Hey, I just came up with this idea. No, we already have the idea. We're already doing this. Well, to some degree. Why don't we lean into that? That would be really good. Thought that was kind of funny. All right, coming up, I don't know if this is funny. Politically, why is Thomas Massey now going after Nick Shirley? Thomas Massey versus Nick Shirley. Really? Why? What in the world's going on here? I don't know. Let's find out. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this weekend with Rightline.
Rightline with Drew Steele.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone.
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
but treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
The best words to hear at the TSA security checkpoint? You're good to go. So check before you jet. Avoid delays at TSA security checkpoints by making sure you have an acceptable form of ID. That means a real ID, passport, or other acceptable forms of identification.
Visit tsa.gov/ID to check the full list of acceptable IDs. Avoid travel delays by checking ID requirements, and you're good to go.
Right Line with Drew Steele. Your national voice across the country. This is Right Line with Drew Steele.
Well, hey, everybody. I just wanted to say thanks for hanging out with us here on Right Line, your national voice, national stories on this weekend, where if we've got some breaking news, we will have it for you. My name is Drew Steele. Thanks for watching at Right Line News on YouTube and X. And we're in commercial break for radio right now. We're on great radio stations across the country. So we are in break right now. And when we come back, we'll have more live with you. So hang tight. We'll be there in just a sec.
Word book to 239-579-9992. That's book to 239-579-9992. Look, don't wait. Text the word book to 239-579-9992 right now.
What does life after service look like? Kicking back? Taking it easy? We believe it looks a little different. Fighting for all veterans. Making sure they get the benefits and care they've earned. Rebuilding communities after disaster strikes. And adapting to support today's veterans. Meeting them where they are. VFW. Still leading. Still advancing. Still serving. Get involved at stillserving.org.
I can trace family members who served from World War I to today, each one helping shape who I am. My family chose to share their stories with the Library of Congress Veterans History Project. Voices, letters, and memories that bring their service to life. Searching for their stories was easy. You can discover powerful stories too, told through the voices of America's veterans. Explore, remember, and share at loc.gov/vets.
Half of young adults are at risk of hearing damage from loud sounds. So why is this happening? We know not to bake in the sun for hours and to get our eyes checked regularly. We buckle up to save lives. And we know that smoking kills. So do poor diet choices and poor life choices. But why are we so reckless with our hearing? We take hearing for granted. Hearing damage from loud sounds is permanent, but preventable. We take common sense steps for our health every day. Let's make hearing part of it. Wear earplugs. Turn it down. Give your ears a rest. Love your ears. Learn more at hearinghealthfoundation.org. Keep listening.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and I have to tell you, when my wife and I talked about getting new kitchen countertops for our house, we know who to call. Rock Solid Countertops and More, 2240 J&C Boulevard in Naples. And they have been absolutely amazing. Hugo and the team are the best. The workmanship has been absolutely incredible. The install was so easy. The process was perfect. Taking everything out, bringing the new stuff in. The quartz countertop is unbelievably beautiful, and my wife is super happy, I'll tell you. You know they have the best quality and selection of marble, quartz, granite, and a one-stop shop for all of your kitchen, outdoor, and bathroom needs. I've known it for years. I've lived in Southwest Florida 40 years. There was really only one place I was going to go. It's Rock Solid Countertops and More. I would suggest you give them a call, 596-7676. They're at 2240 J&C Boulevard in Naples. Find out what they can do for you. Countertops, cabinets, plantation shutters, they do it all. Rock Solid Countertops and More.
The other day, a man called saying my electric was way past due. He threatened to turn off my power if I didn't buy a gift card to pay the bill. I said, Look, fella, I wasn't born yesterday. Gift cards are for gifts, not for paying bills, and I'm sure as heck not buying you a gift. So I hung up on the crook, and my lights never went out. Know the signs of scams, and leave scammers in the dust. If someone asks for a gift card as payment, it's likely a scam. A public service message from the Better Business Bureau.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or are covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
This is Right Line with Drew Steele.
Well, a happy weekend to you, everybody. My name is Drew Steele. Big D over there on the other side of the glass with the rest of the newsroom. And Nina's in the breaking newsroom. You hanging out with us at Right Line News on YouTube and X. And the show goes up after the show. Right Line with Drew Steele, the podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, just in case you missed something. So, Representative, not for long, Thomas Massie is picking a fight with Nick Shirley. Why would you want to pick a fight with Nick Shirley, of all people? So, Nick Shirley, for those that don't know, Nick Shirley, investigative journalist, I guess you could say that. He's a citizen journalist. You know Nick Shirley goes to all these different places and discovers all the fraud and abuse that's happening across the country in places like, Minnesota and different places that he shows up at. And so you have people that are looking.
And I'm a knucklehead at times.
Yeah, that's true there in Minnesota. And so once again, he goes to New York and sees a lot of tax dollars being laundered through these schemes, allegedly. And so he's bringing it up on his X account, and he puts it out there, and he was talking about it just the other day.
This might be a bit shocking. Remember when I went and exposed the adult daycare scam inside of New York City?
Yes.
These adult daycares were billing for an impossible amount of patients inside of Flushing, Queens for adult daycares. For instance, this guy right here operated an adult daycare that received $44 million of your taxpayer dollars.
$44 million? Like, man, really? That sounds fraudulent almost.
I exposed it plain and simple, and Governor Hochul and Mayor Mandami absolutely went completely silent. And it's super funny because when I exposed the daycare fraud in Minnesota, then New York City gave $4.5 billion to 2-year-olds. And I said, why are you guys doing that? They said, well, this initiative extends mainly to 2-year-olds, but intellectually you may be eligible. Governor Hochul started beef with me, and I was like, well, I'm going to finish it. Well, now it turns out that Governor Hochul is receiving donations from these adult daycare scammers in New York City.
Wait a second. Are you saying that scammer sets up business, scammer gets tax money from the state gets the money, whoop, a little flip-de-doo, right back to you kind of thing. Oh, look at what I did there. That was pretty funny, actually. Comes right back to you, and it goes to the Democrats. It seems like something that they do all the time. Why do you keep doing this kind of stuff? So that's what they were doing in New York, and Governor Hochul was getting money from some of these fraudulent businesses? What?
Living Well received $8.6 million in 2025, and on their peak day of business, they billed the state for 406 beneficiaries. My name's Nick Shirley.
No, we don't need any side effect.
See, here's the problem for Nick Shirley. I got to give him it's not really a problem, but let me give him a little clue on a couple of things that he could do that would be helpful when he does these investigative reports. Number one, don't use your name. Just say your name is Chuck, and you don't need to know my last name. Or make something up. I don't know. How about Philip Buster? See, come on, everybody. Come on. I don't know. Make something up. Because then they know it's you, and it's like, all right, it's too late to start using your name, and all right, just have some fun here. But the second part is there are people that get really upset when he's doing these kinds of things, the things that journalists should be doing, but citizen journalists are really doing, like discovering the fraud that's going on, and Governor Hochul taking donations from the daycare fraudsters in New York City who get millions of taxpayer dollars to operate these adult daycares. So everybody should be upset about this, and people should be looking into it. For some reason, Representative Thomas Massie got upset with Nick Shirley on X and said, hard to take Nick Shirley seriously until he starts calling out Johnson, Thune, and Trump for funding the daycare fraud in every omnibus and CR bill with no guardrails. Now, some of the reactions on social media have been fun. Probably some of the reactions that you're having, which is, hold on a second. Why would you trash Nick Shirley and all the great work that he has been doing, the things he's been exposing, and calling out Trump and making it about him? He's got to call out these people. Well, no, he can actually just expose it and just say, here you go. I got the paperwork. What else do you need to know as a representative there in Congress? So Nick Shirley, after hearing that, said, quote, all you do is complain and whine on X while your job is to actually work for us. I've exposed and saved America billions. What have you done? Oof. Ouch. So there's a little public spat going on between Representative Thomas Massie, who won't be there much longer, and with Nick Shirley, who's trying his best to do what we would hope any good citizen would want to do for the taxpayers of certain cities, no matter where they are, even in New York, where you have Republicans and Democrats. Last time I checked, there's a whole lot of Democrats who pay taxes. Well, I don't really know. Maybe they get out of it, but I'm just allegedly. I'm just saying that you pay taxes too in New York. So if we're exposing fraud, shouldn't that make you happy? It's your money, right? But yeah, now you're going after him, and he's like, look, I got the evidence. Here it is. Do your work. Do something. Get something codified into law. Help to get something codified into law to make all of this stop ultimately. But that just seemed very strange that the fight would be between the two of them. Well, it's one-sided, and then he just answered. But anyway, there's that today. What else? All right, let's see what else we're looking at on this weekend here. It's always fun when you have Democrats, lefties, communists, Marxists, socialists. Is there any other kind? Wow, you hear that thunder? We've got some thunderous thundering here in the studios of Right Line today. Why is it that Democrats always seem to want to recreate the past in their own image and think that nobody remembers living through the time that they're reliving and fraudulently giving you what is the evidence of the time? In this case, I'm talking about the governor of the state of California, Gavin Newsom, who was doing a podcast with Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan. So here you have the two govs that are sitting together, I guess, in a, what is it, a diner? Is it I don't know what it is. So it's like this casual situation where it's like, hey, Gretch, what you doing here? I don't know. What are you doing here? Why don't you sit down and have some lunch? Okay, there happen to be microphones. Let's just talk. All right. So here they are talking about life, and let's peek into a little bit of their conversation. This is kind of ridiculous. Here, listen.
People, it's amazing to me how people don't want to talk about COVID.
Right.
They literally just no one.
I want to talk about COVID. I want to talk about all the things that went on during COVID. I want to talk about the jab, and I want to talk about Dr. Fauci, and I want to talk about all the things that Fauci knew about but wouldn't talk about to us, but told people behind the scenes something different than in front of you. You know the story, but no, there are people who want to talk about COVID. Maybe there are some people in places like California and Michigan, heavy Democrats, who don't want to talk about COVID because they're almost I don't want to say humiliated or embarrassed, but maybe they're embarrassed by what they did to us, the ones who maybe didn't want to get the jab at the time, or maybe we had questions about other medications that might work. The horsey paste. Yeah, that kind of humiliation, that kind of stuff. Maybe they want to bring it up because now they know what went down and they feel bad about the way they treated us. I don't know. Maybe I'm just fishing. Who knows?
Even the critics, like the loudest critics, like, move on, something else.
Yeah,
do you feel, do you get that as well?
Yeah. Well, I have this, it's like it warped my sense of time. Do you know what I mean? It feels like a decade ago.
I know.
Now, remember the way that these governors were treating people during COVID. Remember Gavin Newsom was telling everybody that they had to stay home. And then didn't he go to some restaurant, what was it, Dirty Laundry or something like that, to eat while everybody else, fancy. No, I think it was French Laundry. Sorry. He's like, I think it's French Laundry. Something like that. I don't know what it's called. But anyway, he goes out and and has a great old time and does things. And Nancy Pelosi's getting her hair done, and she's enjoying life. And all the way, she's just laughing at everybody because, I get to do these things in California. You can't do them anywhere. So go ahead.
In a way, and it feels like yesterday at the same time. It's like it's the strangest phenomenon. I think we all kind of want to put that in the rearview mirror.
What'd you make of Fauci and all that? Did it bring back some of those memories?
Yeah.
Yeah, Fauci and all that. You mean the fact that we have a diary that showed the lies that he was telling the American people about the lab and about the jab and all these different things? And
I feel bad for him, I mean, God, people were trying to do the right thing with the information that we had.
No, you're not getting away with that one. No way. No. So there's Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan telling everyone that, look, with Fauci, he just had the information he had, and he was just trying to impart that information to the American people in the world. And you can't blame him. It's just the best he could do with the information. No! He had the information. He had the truth. He had a lot of information that he didn't give to us. So they're still covering. They're still covering for Fauci. But here's another story that came out this weekend. How about this? I think it came out during the week, but a lot of people talking about it today, this weekend. Terry Moran, ABC. If you remember ABC, Terry Moran doing stories about COVID. Here's something that he discussed on a podcast where he admitted to everyone something that is fascinating for ABC about COVID, Fauci, information, lies. How about this?
In my work at ABC News. Early in 2021.
Yeah.
Maybe January, February.
Yeah.
I'm seeing online and elsewhere people that I thought were smart and serious, Jamie Menzel mostly saying, and others, maybe this leaked from the lab. And
maybe this leaked from the lab. Smart people. Interesting. Okay, yeah.
The day that it's supposed to air, it gets reviewed and it comes back to me, and I was told, Fauci.
Wait, so they took the story that you did and either sent a copy of a transcript or a copy of the video to Anthony Fauci?
I don't know that that's true personally, but I was told that.
Huh. So what Terry Moran, talking about ABC News, because he worked there in 2021, ABC News censored the COVID Wuhan lab leak report in 21 because Fauci told them not to publish it. So the day it was supposed to air, it got quote unquote reviewed, and it comes back and he was told, yeah, Fauci. And so we're not going to bring this up. So ABC now admitting that they censored COVID information. And here you have Fauci who was like, no, you're not allowed to say that. I'm going to censor all over the place what you're allowed to say, what you can say, knowing full well what the truth was. Now, I'm not saying ABC has ever done this before. It's not like they ever had information, let's just say, on Jeffrey Epstein way back when in 2019 and didn't air the story and put the kibosh on that one as well. I mean, it's not like that ever happened.
Breaking news.
A bombshell.
Wait, this just in. Oh, yes, they did. Don't you remember that time where we heard?
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways.
Yeah, remember Amy Roback, who was an anchor there at ABC News, who was talking about how at the time they had the Jeffrey Epstein story and they wanted to bust this thing wide open, and they were like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to kill that story on Jeffrey Epstein. What was that? Was that in 2016? 2019? What was it? I think it was 2019. I don't know. Anyway, the point is, that's what they did. So when you're trying to find a network that you can lean on as the arbiter of all things truthful and investigations, it's really hard to lean into some of the alphabet news outlets that have been out there for a long time and not think that maybe they're not always truthful, but they're telling you they are, and you have to trust them, but we don't, because you haven't given us a reason. And so there's that. What else we got going on this weekend? I don't know. Let's see. Anytime you want to watch, at Right Line News on YouTube and X. Yeah, I don't know if I want to. Well, I guess we could talk about this in just a second. But first, I wanted to get to some of the latest with the DSA. Can we do that? DSA. Yeah.
Democratic Socialists. Let's wreck this place.
True international effort to pressure. Yeah, is that what that means? Okay. So here's Speaker Mike Johnson, who Saturday morning was on with Fox, and he was talking about his concerns about what's going on with the DSA and the communists who have taken over the party.
Right, and of course it's Marxism, right? So Karl Marx believed, and he taught and said, socialism is a step towards communism. It's a process. They thought communism would be the utopia, the perfect society, but it begins with the wrong premise. Communism is anti-American. It's the opposite of our ideals. We're one nation under God. Communism begins with the premise that there is no God. The state is the God, effectively. And so on the website, what we do is we show a summary of the history of this, going back, beginning 1918 to Soviet Russia, and going through history of the 20th century to communist China, you know, ending in Venezuela, with the Eastern Bloc over in Europe. It never works, and it ends in poverty.
Yeah, but you know what? We've never done communism the American way. That's the difference, with all due respect, Speaker Johnson. So he's talking about how they've got all the information if anybody wants to read about it. They've put it out on a website so that you can see what was going on, and there is a sharp contrast between what Republicans are offering and what the Democrat Socialists of America, otherwise known as the Democrat Party now, are offering. So you can see that. The second part is a funny part, because he's right about this, that instead of God being big G God, their big G God is, wow, I was going to say government. And then just as I was getting to say that, there was another, wow, the lightning and the thunder here is amazing. But anyway, so yeah, government is their big G God. And how do you not know this? They've been edging towards this anyway. They talked about it. Don't you remember? What was it, 2012, when they were edging in this way, when they wanted to take God out of the platform, the Democrat Party? Don't you remember this?
Hearing none, the matter requires a 2/3 vote in the affirmative. All those delegates in favor say aye. All those delegates opposed say no. Let me do that again.
Yeah, let me do that again, because they had to do it a couple of times to keep God in the platform, because there were too many people out there that were like, no thanks, for the Democrat Party. So they've been kind of moving in that direction for a while. But what direction are they moving in? Well, here was something that took place just this past week, as you had a DSA member named Ashik Sadiq, who was talking about on a podcast exactly what does it mean to, quote unquote, abolish the Senate. Like, what does that even look like? Because they're not saying they don't want to. They're admitting this is the direction they want to go. Here's a funny answer for you.
What does it mean when you say you want to abolish the Senate? Ashik, Megan, you responded to this. So Ashik, what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
We ultimately want to replace the two-party system with a multi-party democracy, something like a parliamentary system that exists in many other countries. So abolishing the Senate is not something we could snap our fingers and do next year or in a few years, but we want to expand democracy so that we have a much more representative, something like the House of Representatives.
Much more. So let me get this straight. You want to abolish the Senate so we have something more representative like the House of Representatives. But the problem with that is that we already have a House of Representatives. So why do we have to do something that we already have? Like, if it already existed, it would be great. And the funny thing is when you look at it and you're like, hey, do we have a House of Representatives? And it's like, yeah, we do. So what are you talking about, man? I mean, we have to expand democracy. We need something like a House of Representatives. Hey, does this guy know we have one already? Yeah, we already have that. So that was a little bit of what was being said this week. Oh, and also, if a lot of you are trying to figure out what the next step is or what has been the process by which the DSA has been able to infiltrate, how they've been able to manipulate, how they've been able to make all of this even a discussion in 2026, where nobody in a million years really thought there would be any serious discussion about a major political party in the United States becoming communist. But here we are. And many of you have caught on to the fact that when people say, well, it's indoctrination in schools, that's how they do it. Yeah, you're not wrong. Here's Professor? What am I, Nancy Pelosi now? I'm sorry. Here is University of Chicago professor Aman Abdelhadi. Now, that name might not ring a bell to you, but it sure does to Abdul El Sayed because that is his sister. She's a professor at University of Chicago. Here she is talking about the things that they do there at the University of Chicago. And check this out.
Landlord, like, why would I put any of my political energy into this space? And I kind of had a little bit of disdain for like people who spent a lot of time doing that. And the genocide really collapsed that and made me realize that two things. One is that, well, my students needed me. So it was like, oh, I have to organize here to take care of my students who I do care about. But I also realized, and I think this is a painful lesson that a lot of us in the Palestine Solidarity Movement have been learning, is that we don't have power. We can shift the moral authority all we want, and we've won the moral question. Like, that was the imperative that we've had. Done, check. Like, put Palestine in the national consciousness, we did it.
Okay, so they got it in the national consciousness. They did it at the college level. They just didn't have the power, but they were able to move the needle when it comes to the Free Palestine movement and some of the other things that go along with it. So you see the university being used as a place to change people's minds on things. But hold on a second.
Make people sympathetic to Palestine, teach the history, we did it. Like, now you have white boys on the north side of Chicago being like, hey man, free Palestine. I'm like, oh, okay, now did not see it coming, glad it's here. But what we don't have is power. And I think for me, the question of base building is about, I think the question that I'm asking myself and I'm asking you to ask yourself is, where can I actually build power? Turns out I work at one of the biggest employers in the city of Chicago.
She works at one of the biggest employers in the city of Chicago, the University of Chicago. And how do you build power? The University of Chicago puts out people like police officers and nurses and the like. And all of a sudden, now you're building power in the community. She's using the university system to build power politically, ideologically in the community. Do you see? They admit it. They admit exactly what they're doing. You can see it.
Right Line with Drew Steele.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. You've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
After my injury, I lost my sense of purpose.
I lost the ability to tuck my daughters into bed.
Homes for Our Troops builds specially adapted homes with features that allow our veterans to function independently and focus on their recovery and family. This life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free, thanks to our donors and supporters.
Homes for Our Troops gave me a home where I can be a dad.
Homes for Our Troops gave me a brighter future.
We need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Learn more at hfotusa.org.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Since the dawn of time, man and wildlife have shared a connection. And hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation have connected man to the natural world. From bow and arrow to hook and bullet, as man evolved, our link to those traditions remains. Yet today, our basic instinct to provide and as part of the hunt, to conserve and appreciate the natural world has fallen under attack for the first time in human history. Misguided politicians and radical activists pushing an agenda to end hunting as we know it are leading a war against our heritage. In their misguided policies and protests, they demonize hunters and belittle our way of life. The result? Hunters leaving the sport in droves while our wildlife and ecosystems suffer the consequences as conservation funding dries up. Named after the father of the North American model for wildlife conservation, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting in the arena to protect and expand the rights of hunters everywhere. We will fight back against these forces to make sure that every American has a right to hunt, enshrined in their state constitutions. We will educate the next generation in our traditions and seek to expand accessibility so that everyone can enjoy our pastimes. And we will continue to hold true to our namesake's efforts to protect, preserve, and ensure open access to our nation's wildlands. Teddy Roosevelt's vision for American conservation defines our modern hunting and conservation system. A system upheld by the idea that conservation efforts are crucial to our hunting way of life, and that hunters are crucial to successful conservation.
I slept in a lot of different rooms, different beds, but none of them really felt like mine. I spent 14 years in foster care, mostly in group homes. And I never had much stuff because I always had to be ready to move. Why get things if you just have to let them go?
There are more than 100,000 children in foster care waiting to be adopted. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is working to help find them a forever family and a permanent home of their own.
Now I have my own room with walls that tell my story. I love hanging out in here. I play dress up with my sisters and I sing and make videos. But the best part, knowing I'll always have a place to go and a family that loves and supports me.
If you have room in your home or your heart, see how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead and in a changing world. You've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Right Line with Drew Steele.
Anytime you want to watch at Right Line News on YouTube and X. So a couple of things. First of all, after the show, you get the podcast, Right Line with Drew Steele, the podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get it. So if you missed something, you want to check it out this weekend, cool. The second thing is we do a weekday show. It's called Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. We are in the state of Florida. That's where we broadcast from, but we go out across the nation. So if you want to check out the weekday show, you can go to @FL, like Florida, FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, and Instagram. Everybody, them, they, over here, us all together, doing the show during the week. So you can check us out live Monday through Friday. And then the third thing I wanted to mention is during the week, we do something called the top 5 audio clips of the day. On the weekends, we do the top 5 audio clips of the week. And it's tough because there's a lot of them. And this week was tough. But these are my top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Drew's top 5. Number 5.
2 things. There's the audit log and the results. What we uncovered was that 5 of the sticks had the audit log downloaded and not the results. It's a human error. These things can happen. So basically what we need to do is go back to the operations center and we're going to download out of those 5 machines the results and make sure that it's not the audit log.
Why is it that we can't do this right? Why is it that we can't get this perfected at this moment in time? So that was during the week. On Tuesday, we had some big primaries, especially in Wisconsin. 2:20 a.m., there was a ballot dump in Milwaukee. I know, it's crazy. And then you find out that 5 USBs had missing election data on it. And they're like, yeah, well, we had the wrong stuff on there, so, we probably needed to clean that up a little bit. And you're just wondering, can we get this thing right anytime soon? Can we stop with the nonsense and maybe get paper ballots? And really, it just keeps going.
Number 4.
Senate Rogers versus Elside. Look at this, a new Fox News poll. Rogers is actually up by 4 points. He's up by 4 points. It's close, but a Republican is ahead in Michigan. And why? Why? What is going on? Look among independents. Rogers actually leads by 5. This is extremely unusual because across the political map, as I was looking at these different Fox News polls, I couldn't find another example where the Republican was actually leading among independents. And it turns out that candidate quality may in fact matter, at least in terms of how voters see it, because in this same poll, the Democratic candidate for governor was ahead. So this is unique to the Senate race, and it is quite a troubling result for Democrats and quite a heartening one for Republicans.
There you go. So heartening for Republicans. So the Michigan Senate seat, Rogers versus El Said, in the poll, Fox News poll that was done this week, where you have Rogers +4 overall, but you also have him +5 with independents. And as you heard, who is it? Harry Enton, Holy Toledo guy.
Holy Toledo.
He's Dee's favorite guy there on the pollster guy, not guy in general. But yeah, saying that if you are someone who's a Democrat in Michigan, you're not liking these numbers, but they go on to talk about how overall it's also something that you see with El Said, that the Michigan voters there do not like him very much either. So looking good for Republicans in Michigan. You like to hear that.
Number 3.
They hate me because they ain't me and they can't ever be me.
Now, one day you might say, can we watch that video again of the President of the United States, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? Because wasn't there a time? Yeah, that's right. So that's AOC right there, who during the week, I guess, put out something about Republicans on X and talking about, not even Republicans, excuse me, conservative men. She said they hate me because they ain't me and they can't ever be me. Yeah, but I thought you could. Like, if you're a Democrat, that's not true, because according to you can be like her. It's easy. There's just a couple of things you got to do, some things you might have to remove, some things you might have to take. There's a couple of things you do, little dip-de-doo, and there you go. Next thing you know it. So technically you could be her. I mean, you couldn't exactly be AOC, but you could be like her. So it's really not true. Let's just move on.
Number 2.
Okay. Wow. What the heck just came in Brown? Which was that? That was huge for her.
Yeah, so that was about 18,000 votes, and she nets 2,000.
Question.
What just happened? So it was one of those weeks where, wow, when we have elections, even primary elections, it seems like every time there's an election in a blue state or one where there's a Democrat race going on, interesting things happen. Like when Steve Kornacki from MMS, whatever they call themselves these days, was watching some of the returns, and he's like, whoa, that was a big dump. What just happened there? And the guy that's with him is like, I don't know. Looks like there was a late night ballot drop or something. Something big happened. And next thing you know it, Francesca Hong, the leftist, that probably Democrats in the state were like, can we do something about this? Because she's going to lose bigly. At least the other guy's a socialist, but we can do something with him. And next thing you know, it's like ballot dump, allegedly. And he was like, what just happened? So in the newsroom, they're like, I don't know what happened. You kind of know what happened because you're Democrats in the newsroom and you're I know what happened. It's 2:00 in the morning. I know what happened. See what I did there? It's
Number 1.
We're going to get Todd Blanche. He's going to be confirmed, and he's going to overturn Roe v. Wade. We're all sitting around all these.
Stop. Just stop. So that's Chelsea Handler. Is that her name? Chelsea Handler, who I guess at one time or is right now or is supposedly a comedian or something like that. Maybe an actress. I don't know. Chelsea Handler was on the Pivot podcast. And she wanted to let everybody know that she's really worried about what happened this week, but at the time had not happened yet, which is the acting attorney general becoming the attorney general. She was warning that if Todd Blanche is confirmed as U.S. attorney general, quote, he's going to overturn Roe v. Wade. Now, the interwebs went crazy because it's like Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court in 2022. So, have you, where have you been?
Drew's Top 5.
As a matter of fact, at the time, you were probably freaking out like the rest of the leftists, going crazy about all of that. And you don't even remember that? And the other funny part about that interview is that the person that was interviewing her didn't even stop her and go, no. We probably need to cut that out. No, they didn't cut it out. So I just thought that was very interesting. It's kind of one of those things that Democrats do. You know, sometimes they'll say something, spew something out where it's wrong, but not get corrected. Sometimes it's spewing out vitriol and hate where they'll say something about someone and they'll put it out there like Nancy Pelosi would always do. You know, there's racists. There's Republicans that are racist in Congress. I cannot believe it. I could not believe what I was hearing. Really, Nancy? We don't want them here. We would like them out of office. Can you tell us who they are? No, I can't really tell you. We should like some ice cream. You know, that kind of thing. And then you have some that either are changing history or just don't get it. Here's Bill Maher talking to Andrew Cuomo. They're talking about, man, isn't it good that Francesca Hong didn't get elected, because that would have been crazy. Here, listen to this.
Be happy that the crazy lady in Wisconsin lost, as for the Democratic Party.
The Ukraine. It is so shocking to me how the Democratic Party has gotten itself into this situation where it is so counterproductive, right?
It's crazy to you that they got themselves into this position, this counterintuitive direction that the Democrats are going. Like, you really, honestly, Andrew Cuomo, who used to be the governor of New York, you don't know how this happened? Well, let it go on a little more.
We hate MAGA, we hate Trump. So we go out and nominate people who make it harder to win in November. You know, none of it makes any sense.
You don't know how this happened? First of all, your big tent idea is a flop. You know, there were some Republicans in the past that were talking about being a big tent, and it's like, yeah, you know, there's one thing to be said about Republicans and having a big tent, and there's another thing when somebody comes along and says, I'm a communist Republican, and you're like, no, you're not. There's no such thing. Get out of the tent. Yeah, and take that hammer and sickle with you. But, look, you don't get it. You haven't figured out why this kind of thing has happened, why people are maybe accepting what they think and hear to be, you know, the working class, the working party, workers, getting behind workers, you know, all of these different things. And these and then where some people can gravitate to. But then these radical ideas that they try to smooth over and make it seem like it's something that they're not, selling you a bill of goods. Like, you don't know how you got there. Maybe you got here because of what Democrats have done to us all the time. This week, August 11th, according to Clipkeeper on X, who does a great job with videos. Here you go. August 11th, 2026, Nancy Pelosi.
Do you regret not speaking up earlier about President Biden's decision to run for re-election in 2024?
No, I didn't really know, quite frankly. It was.
You didn't know. And then you go back in time to June 30th, 2024, 3 days after the debate, where she's like,
it's a bad night. Let's not sugarcoat that. It was a bad night. It was a great presidency. When you think of the debate and how sad that was, that's really when we learned.
Again, she goes back and forth. It's back and forth. Nancy Pelosi 1, Nancy Pelosi 2, Nancy Pelosi from 2026, Nancy Pelosi from 2024. And the fact of the matter is that you lie. You lie all the time. You lie about everything. And this is what she does. And this is what the party has been doing. And so there are genuinely people who get fed up with the process, even as a Democrat, where you try to rewrite history. I had no idea that Joe Biden had issues. He seemed perfectly fine to me. No, he doesn't. No, is there something wrong? You should have told us at the time. Why didn't you tell us? You got to be kidding. And so there's Andrew Cuomo on Bill Maher's program on Friday night, who's like, I don't know how we got here. I don't know how all of this happened. Okay. I just think that's pretty hysterical. By the way, one of the other things that's pretty hysterical was Kamala Harris. You know, I don't know if you're hungry, but if you're hungry, I got something for you. Here's a word salad for you. How about this?
The part of the pain of this moment, Stacey, is these so-called leaders who are pushing this kind of this narrative about who is a legitimate American citizen among American citizens. Yeah. This blood and soil narrative that's being pushed at the highest levels of our government to suggest that, you know, once again, to harken back to times when it was explicit that there was a hierarchy among Americans and who was superior and whom was inferior.
What are you talking about? They're having a discussion about citizenship and a hierarchy and the difference and what I don't even know what she's talking. What are you talking about with citizenship and this word salad that she comes up with? Like, you don't know what is and isn't a citizen? Like, I can't believe we're having this discussion. No, it's a really easy discussion to have. You know the difference.
Right Line with Drew Steele.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Did you know VA home loans are a key to home ownership for those who served?
The first moment I walked into my home, I could hear my footsteps echo off the back wall. The first thing I thought in my head was, man, furniture is going to be real expensive. The VA not requiring any down payment prior to buying the home allowed me to take that money I had budgeted to go out and buy furniture, food, cleaning supplies, pretty much everything I needed. Purchasing a home is scary, but ultimately it's not impossible, and they make it so that anybody can do it.
To learn more, visit va.gov/home loans.
For 25 years, the Library of Congress Veterans History Project has collected and preserved the experiences of America's heroes. From original letters to oral histories, these first-hand accounts bring history to life, one voice at a time. With over 120,000 stories collected, each reveals the courage, sacrifice, and service of our veterans, but many remain untold. Help our nation reach 125,000. Share a story. Ensure a legacy. Visit loc.gov/vets today.
We weren't sure adoption would happen for us, but when it did, it happened threefold.
Mary and her husband first met their 3 children when they became their foster parents. Little did they know that their house would become the siblings' forever home.
We had to help them adjust to the idea that they wouldn't have to leave. Children in foster care have lived and survived so much. We had to help them process their trauma. And now to hear our children say that they know they have a mother and father who take care of us, teach us, and love us means everything.
The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is committed to finding safe, permanent homes for the longest waiting children in foster care.
I not only love these kids, I am just so proud of them.
You can help. Visit davethomasfoundation.org.
When I was 19 and I was going to shows, I was not thinking about permanent hearing loss. I wasn't thinking about tinnitus.
Sometimes my kids are having a conversation with me and that ringing starts in my ear. They're talking to me and I hear their voice, but I can't focus on what they're saying.
The audiologist, he told me that most of his clients are not old people. They're kids that have their earphones in.
I have a lot of regret about not protecting my ears sooner.
Protect your ears at all times, no matter what. It's not something you can get back. Some journeys start small, with small pause and big purpose.
Look how little you are, you sweet girl.
Every great partnership begins with the first step,
Bella, let's go.
guiding them through the world so one day they can guide someone through life. With shared experience, confidence grows, and the path becomes clear. It takes time, patience, and love. But the reward lasts a lifetime.
Hey, good girl, Bella.
You don't just raise a puppy. You raise a future. Become a Dogs Inc. puppy raiser. Give a dog a purpose. Give someone hope.
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Listen, I've lived in Southwest Florida long enough to know that when I needed countertops, you go to the best. Who's the best? Rock Solid on J&C Boulevard in Naples. First of all, Rock Solid's consultants, I wasn't really sure what I wanted, but I knew that they were knowledgeable, gave me all the information I needed to make the best decision. I love that fabrication is done on premises. It's not like they're subbing out the job to some third party, right? If you're looking for countertops, backsplash, you know where to go. Rock Solid, J&C Boulevard in Naples.
Now, back to Right Line with Drew Steele.
Good news for the Democrats. The crazy lady in Wisconsin who hates Thanksgiving lost by a whisker. Yeah, remember Francesca Hong up there? Yeah, she was ahead by 20 points, but then we found out about Thanksgiving. Doesn't like Thanksgiving. Also hates Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's Day, the 4th of July. It's actually a good thing she lost for everybody, considering how much she enjoys celebrating. She took it well. She said she just wants to spend more time with her husband, the Grinch.
Very nice. Okay, so Bill Maher talking about Francesca Hong and the fact that she lost, and yeah, her husband being the Grinch. Well done there. Well done. All right. What other things are going on here over this weekend? By the way, anytime you want to watch at Right Line News on YouTube and X, the show goes up in a couple of more minutes as we're getting ready to finish up here, put a bow on the show, as we like to call it. Right Line with Drew Steele, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get it. All right. The WNBA news was pretty funny. You know, they're trying to figure out what is a woman. They got together. They had a big meeting during the week. Couldn't figure out what it is. The bylaws still say the same, and that's why former NBA player Enes Kanter Freedom was responding. I guess he's in like this podcast or this group of individuals who were talking about what's coming up and the fact that he is going to try out, but one major question abounds.
Thank you. As plainly spoken as you can, I'm going to ask you a question that I think everybody in America, in fact, I think everybody in the world would like an answer to. Are you a woman?
Next spring, I'm going to take my talents and join the WNBA.
But Enes, you'll be taking an opportunity away from a woman.
Coach, by their rules, if I step on that court and identify as a woman, I am allowed to play, and I am prepared to play.
Whoa. So there you go. So he's basically like, look, according to their rules, it's their rules. Aren't you taking an opportunity away from a woman? Well, it's their rules. If I step on that court and identify as a woman, I'm allowed to play and I'm prepared to play. That's the rules that they created. Now, is he going to do that? I don't know. I mean, is it like all bluster and it's just trying to make a point? And obviously that's not going to happen. I doubt it. The thing I worry about the most is Sophie Cunningham obviously started all of this. She plays for the Fever there in Indiana, and she's the one that was talking about just want to protect girls. And so, you know, boys and girls sports, not really a fan of that. And, you know, I worry about her. She's probably very sad lately and not doing a whole lot because people aren't very happy with her. And so they said, not at all. Here she is in a bar the other day after a game. And yeah, it seems like everything's going okay in her world. There she was. I guess she got, after the game, got invited to stand on top of a bar with somebody who was singing karaoke or something. And there she was right after the game, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, singing with fans. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that maybe her world is okay and she's doing just fine, and that's really what it's about. It's about just being able to, in this country that we love, being able to express yourself with confidence no matter what it is that you believe. And some people may agree with you and some people may not agree with you. And of course, you say things in truth and love. Love and truth, truth and love. You know, they go together. You cannot have one without the other. They go together in there. It's one of those very important things to remember. So I just thought that was very funny. It was like, well, now Sophie Cunningham's doing. Is she okay? No, she's fine. She's on bars singing karaoke and courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. So there you go, if you're wondering. All right, listen, thanks for hanging out with us this weekend. We always appreciate it. And if you want to check out the program, once again, if you missed it for some reason, you want to go back, cool. Right Line with Drew Steele, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get it, goes up in just a couple of more minutes. We'll see you next week. This is Right Line.
Right Line with Drew Steele.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone.
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
But treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
The best words to hear at the TSA security checkpoint? You're good to go. So check before you jet. Avoid delays at TSA security checkpoints by making sure you have an acceptable form of ID. That means a real ID, passport, or other acceptable forms of identification.
Visit tsa.gov/ID to check the full list of acceptable IDs. Avoid travel delays by checking ID requirements, and you're good to go.
Right Line with Drew Steele.
All right, just want to say thanks to everybody who watched Right Line today. Thanks for hanging out with us this weekend. We do it each and every weekend, 4 to 6 p.m. live on Saturdays. So thanks so much, all the great radio stations who carry the program. We appreciate it. At Right Line News on YouTube and X if you want to watch. And don't forget the podcast goes up in a couple of more minutes, and we will see you next week. Thanks so much for hanging with us.